Question 8. The table shows information about midday temperatures. You've got your frequency, number of days here, and the temperatures on the left. Okay, so for example, there were 4 days where the temperature was greater than or equal to 15 but less than 20 degrees. There were 44 days that were greater than or equal to 25 degrees but less than 30. Okay, now part A says write down the modal class interval. Now the mode is the most common. Okay, now the class intervals are here. Okay, now which one was the most common? The modal class interval. Now there were 44 days that were greater than or equal to 25 degrees but less than 30 degrees. Now that was the most days. Okay, so that is the modal class interval. So I'm just going to copy that. So 25 equal to or greater than 25 but less than 30. Okay, now that's worth 1 mark. So providing you write that down unambiguously, then you get that 1 mark. Okay, so it says work out an estimate for the mean midday temperature. Give your answer correct to 3 significant figures. So the mean is where you add up all the temperatures and divide it by the number of days there were. Okay, so we're actually going to need a few more columns. Let's see if I can do this as neatly as I can. I hope you can see that. Now there were 6 days between, well, greater than or equal to 10 degrees but less than 15. Okay, there were 6 days. Now we don't know whether it was 10, 11 degrees, 13, 12, even 14, or it could have been any of those. So we're going to find a midpoint. Okay, so MP midpoint. So we're going to pretend that all of these 6 days were 12.5 degrees. Okay, so 12.5 degrees. Now we're assuming some are going to be less than 12.5 and some are going to be slightly more than 12.5, and hopefully it will even out. Okay, so let's just pretend all 6 of those days were 12.5 degrees. Okay, so the midpoint of 15 to 20 is 17.5. So there's 4 days that we're going to say at 17.5 degrees. Midpoint 22.5. Midpoint 27.5. 32.5 and 37.5 degrees. Okay, now if there were 6 days that were 12.5 degrees, that gives us a total, if you just multiply them through, of 6 times 12.5, 75 degrees. Okay, so 75. 4 times 17.5 to give you 70. 24 times 22.5 gives you 540. There were 44 days that were 27.5 degrees, or we're assuming there is. That's 1,210. There was 10 days where they're 32.5 degrees. That gives you 325 degrees in total, and 4 days where it's 37.5 degrees. Okay, that gives you 150. So if we add those up, add up this column here, then it will give us the total degrees. So that gives us a total of 2,370 degrees. And how many days were there? Okay, number of days in total. So 6 add 4 add 24 add 44 add 10 add 4 gives us 92 days where they recorded this data. Okay, so it's going to be the mean. So we've got the total 2,370 degrees divided by 92, and that gives us 2,370 divided by 92, 25.760 869, and it goes on a little bit. 57, okay, on the calculator. Now 3 significant figures then for the final answer. 1, 2, 3, and that rounds up. Okay, so your final answer is going to be 25.8 degrees Celsius. Okay, and that's the final answer. So this is part B, is a 4-mark question. Let's have a look at how you get those marks. So you get 1 mark for at least 4 correct midpoints. You get a 2nd mark for multiplying at least 4 midpoints with the number of days correctly. Okay, so at least a minimum of 4. For the 3rd mark, it's going to be the total temperature divided by total number of days, so a mark here. And the final mark comes from the final answer. Okay, now it gives a bit of a range for the final answer, which would give you the 4th mark. So it says in the mark scheme that if you put 25.76, so anything 25.76 to 25.8, which I've got there, would give you the last